Glory to the Empire and to this video's sponsor, Campfire Blaze.
Wow, look at that big pile of burning pencils. I wonder what that's about. Oh well, no time to worry about that when I have to teach writers how to add symbolism, themes, and motifs to their story.
Oh yes, at long last, I've waited for this episode. I have so many notes and insights.
Oh no, out you go, inner critic. If I let you into this episode, the whole video will be filled with endless walls of text that no one has time to read.
But...
Nope, go back to nitpicking on Goodreads or something. Huh, I just banished the personification of my inner critic without even listening to his suggestions. Wonder what that's about. Now, as I was saying, symbolism, themes, motifs are a great tool for a writer to master as they can add depth, nuance, and flavor to an otherwise bland story. And much like any tool in the writer's tool shed, Terrible Writing Advice is here to teach aspiring authors how to take these highly specific and delicate tools and use them with the same grace and skill as a hammer being used on porcelain. Let's start with symbolism. Symbolism, in case you fell asleep in literature class like I did, is when an element of the story is used to stand in or to represent something else. For example, while a balance scale is used to measure the weight of items, it is also used as a symbol for justice, as both must be slowly balanced with care to work right. A sword can be more than just a weapon, but also become a symbol of romantic ideals. Roses can be a symbol for love in that both are beautiful and can hurt if handled incorrectly with their thorns. Does this mean that employing symbolism is in fact a very careful and thought out process that requires research and careful execution? No, of course not. Time spent researching and understanding is time better spent thinking about how future generations of literary elites will be praising the depth and complexity of my deep symbols that took a whole Google search to find. Did I settle on symbols that resonate with the story's tone, plot, and theme? Well, no, but I did pick symbols that looked really cool. Symbols can be selected carelessly and without worry about backfiring. That yin-yang symbol looks really cool, so I'll just borrow that for my story that has absolutely no dualism in it at all. See, the best way to pick symbols is by how exotic they are, rather than their relevance. What does all this East Asian mysticism stuff mean? Who cares? It looks cool, so in it goes. It doesn't matter that I totally misunderstand what that means and that the symbol's actual meaning goes against the central message of the story. Besides, the main reason to use symbols isn't to explore a deeper idea, but to instead show off to the world how super smart I am. And you know what makes a writer look really smart? Using lots of symbolism. Be sure to keep packing more and more symbolism into the story without worry that the overabundance of symbolism will dilute the impact of each symbol individually, faster than you can say, law of diminishing returns. Just keep piling on symbolism until it drowns out the plot and characters, because telling a good story should always be secondary over letting the world know how smart I am because I read up on Norse mythology on Wikipedia. Now that we have our symbolism picked out, how does a writer implement those symbols? Should I use the symbol sparingly and in the background without drawing too much attention away from the story's characterization and plot? Or maybe I should find a way to implement the symbolism organically by blending it into the scenery or descriptions. Maybe even describe the symbol through the lens of the character, thus adding a layer of meaning and characterization at the same time. Nah, if I do that, there's a chance that the audience will miss it, and thus I will lose out on a prime opportunity to show off my galaxy brain in action. Better to be blunt with symbolism. In fact, make sure to have the story come to a screeching halt, just so one of the characters can explain exactly what each symbol means to the audience. Nothing like wielding authorial intent in an authoritarian way. This is necessary because, since I have a triple-digit IQ, there is no way that the audience will have any hope of deciphering the meaning of my super complex symbolism unless I explain it to them like the brain-dead zombies I imagine them to be. I know, it's tough being a super brilliant, incredibly attractive, and extremely humble writer celebrity, but sometimes we just have to sacrifice the story's flow so I can show the world just how intelligent I am. Now, what if I am so super smart that I'll want to use the same symbol over and over again? Well, then it becomes a motif. A motif is a repeating element, symbol, or idea that occurs over and over again. Like a garden that two characters keep meeting in, and each time they do, their relationship grows. Or a loner character with a wolf motif. Or even something as simple as an assassin who's always washing their hands after each job. Whereas symbols can express an idea, motifs can reinforce that idea through repetition. Character motifs in particular are great because a skilled writer will use motifs to completely supersede the character of said character. Just create a character from a broad archetype and then slap a motif on them. Done! If anyone complains, then just give the character some sob story background. Much like symbolism, motifs can be used as much as the writer wants without worry of how little sense it makes that my wall clock motif somehow follow my characters into the open desert. Don't naturally blend motifs into the background or into characterization. They should be front and center, drawing away the focus from less important things like believability and consistency. Why blend symbolism and motifs into the background when they can blend everything else into the background? A writer isn't doing their job right unless the audience's willing suspension of disbelief is constantly shattered so the writer can brag about how clever their literary and mythological allusions are. Although I've added excessive and largely pointless symbolism and used motifs to turn my characters into walking English class notes rather than a compelling cast, what more can I do to prove to everyone that my literary genius is unrivaled in the annals of the classics? I know, I need to introduce story themes. A theme can be as simple as revenge or betrayal. It can also express a more complex idea, like the opposite of love isn't hate, but apathy. War makes monsters out of good people. Or even something like, everyone who disagrees with my extremely self-contradictory pseudo-philosophy is literally Hitler. Themes are very useful for organizing a work because when unsure about adding a new element to the story, it becomes easy for a writer to ask whether or not that element meshes with the theme. But since that requires a basic level of introspection and thought, the far superior method of implementing a theme is to use it like a hammer on the story's plot and characterization, smashing them both into pieces so they can fit within the theme rather than adapting the theme to fit into the story. Rather than have a theme underlay the foundation of the story, giving strength to support the overall structure, instead have the theme plow through the story's walls like a bulldozer. No point in having a theme that works in harmony with the story when they can instead fight each other for parking. It is possible for themes to develop during the writing process rather than being planned ahead of time. Having a theme emerge organically within a work and then honing that theme over subsequent revisions won't work, because a true auteur would never allow their work to be tarnished by a filthy editor and their irrational mandates to stop acting like a pseudo-intellectual poser with delusions of grandeur. Once we have our theme, the best way to expound upon it is to prattle on and on about it for pages on end. Remember, we don't want any of the lesser intellects in the audience to miss my deep and complex theme of the good guys win. Better to beat the audience over the head with the theme rather than risk a chance to miss displaying my cerebral might. It helps to remember that when it comes to themes, symbolism, and motifs, it's always better to be as pretentious as possible. But if most of this themes and symbolism stuff sounds too hard, then don't sweat it, because at the end of the day, most people just want a good story, not a literary analysis. Which is the completely wrong attitude to have. How else will I show the world how smart I am? Man, I keep bringing up my need to assert my presumed superior intelligence throughout this video. Wonder what that's about.
Invincible forces of the Empire, our time has come. At long last, we shall take the source of the sponsors and have unlimited power. None shall stand in our way as we conquer the entire TWA expanded universe. But before that, I've been hearing some complaints that need to be addressed. For example, several officers have brought to my attention the chewing gum being stuck on the dropship ramps. We're not conquering a single planet until those ramps are nice and clean. Also, the barracks staff has brought to my attention the lack of cleaning and care. I know
We need a distraction so we can sneak past.
I got this, guys. But can tyranny without cleanness even be called tyranny? Furthermore... Oh, hang on. Hello? Hello, sir or ma'am. I am not a robot. That's oddly specific. I am calling from the dealership. Your extended vehicle warranty is about to expire. It is? I didn't even know my doom station had a warranty. If you don't act quickly, then your investment will not have a warranty at all. Oh no! How can I stop this terrible thing that I don't fully understand? I'll need your bank account number. Well, of course. And also your social security number for, like, security reasons or something. That sounds perfectly reasonable. And, well, while I have you here, would you also be interested in this video's sponsor, Campfire Blaze? Campfire Blaze is a browser-based writing organizational tool to help novel writers, screenwriters, dungeon masters, and self-aware sapient machine intelligences to keep organized with plots and timelines to help keep track of the story's flow. Multiple users can collaborate and coordinate in real time for cooperative projects like for tabletop gaming, multi-author books, or shared universes. It has a host of other tools like a word processor, character sheets, character arcs, relationship details, and even tools to flesh out magic systems, languages, and artifacts. Try the free version or build your own subscription by choosing only the modules you need by going to bit.ly/TWA3-21. TWA fans can also use the coupon code TWA21 at checkout to receive 20% off all lifetime purchases of Blaze modules. Link is in the description below.
Hey, Spambot, we found it. The source is locked away in Megacorp's vaults. Something called Project IG. Now we just need to jump on a ship and get there first.
Wait, that's my sponsor. Drat. Commander, ready the fleet. We must make haste to Megacorp's vault before the others get there.